What's up, YouTube? This is the last video of 2025 before we go into the new year, 2026. And I kind of just wanted to talk about and reflect off of what went right this year and what we could work on moving into the new year and the new quarter day trading. So, for example, for me, let's dive right into it. Oh wait, no, I'm also uploading the other video right now, but for me, what I really noticed, the past couple 2 months of day trading was the fact that my downfall was actually the fact that I overtraded and I'd be revenge trading. I think revenge trading is probably the worst thing that I could have ever done in trading. So, and it almost blew this account that I have right here. So right here, there was an account, a Tradify account that I started on the 15th of December. And I almost blew that shit in like 2 days. I had like $300 worth of like P&L room, which is terrible. Now I have like 700, but I just wanted to talk about what I truly learned from being in such hard drawdown and trying to like climb my way back up. So what I really learned is that I think the biggest thing for me was that staying patient and knowing that there's always going to be better market conditions the next day or the next week, and that you don't necessarily have to force a trade, or even if you like win during a trade and you forced it. I still wouldn't feel good about that, honestly, because I know that I didn't execute my process thoroughly and I didn't execute it properly according to my consistency and my back testing. So what I mean by that is I would rather lose knowing that I followed every single rule in my process and my setup and my strategy than win while forcing like a freaking Asia trade or something like that. And it's not about the P&L. Once I started focusing more on like the process of actually executing my trade and focusing more on just doing everything right and giving myself permission to trade in a certain time frame, that's when I started seeing more consistency. So even though like after these 2 days of almost blowing the account, I've been breaking even for the next like 2-3 weeks. So I broke even on the 17th, I broke even on the 19th, I broke even on the 22nd, I broke even on the 23rd. So I broke even for like the next week and a half after that. And then yesterday, I finally hit like a decent trade. I hit a $328 trade. And then today I broke even again. But what does that tell me about my process? That tells me that I haven't lost in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trades now. Like, I'm 8 trades consistent and I haven't lost. Like, okay, I know these are red, like these two are red, but I really don't consider it a loss just because, like, it's a break even. It's not a loss according to my RR. Like, I didn't lose like $200 or $400. I lost $5 or like 5 cents. So I wouldn't even call that a loss, really. It's just a break even day for me. So the moment I started refining my process and really honing in on my discipline is the moment that I started being more consistent. And, I might not be seeing massive profits right now, but what I am seeing is the consistency that I'm not losing money. And I've only been gaining. I know I've only gained like, I don't know, 6 plus 44 plus 24 plus 304. That's like nothing, honestly. But the point is, I haven't lost money. I haven't lost. And I think that is what is the most important thing here for me, is I could care less about making 1,200 in a trade and then having just a low win rate and high winnings. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I would love to have that, but I would rather, I don't know, be consistent in my process and knowing that I have a high probability of success or at least breaking even if I just followed my rules, if I just followed my process, if I take 1 or 2 trades a day. Here I took 2 trades, here I took 1 trade, 1 trade, 1 trade, 2 trades, 1 trade. Like, I don't stay in a trade unless the market gives me permission to, unless I see that continuation, unless I see that expansion. I won't stay in a trade unless I see that everything in my process, everything in my rules are being checked out. So, yeah, that is what I really learned for this year, for the past 2 months I've been trading. Especially since I almost blew the account, I think that I really like focused in on refining a strategy that actually works. And I've only been trading like one model. I've only been trading continuation displacement. Like I'd have like a liquidity sweep, I'd have a break of structure, I would have a change of character, I would have a draw on liquidity. And only after all those things are already met would I stay in that trade. And even if like all those things are met, like for example today, if we look at ES today and then my trade today, I had all my conditions met. High time frame was bullet or bearish. So I was looking for shorts today. We had a break of structure, we had a retest that failed. We dipped back below price, we had a retest back below price, it failed. And I think I entered like right around here. And even though like I had that set up and I probably would have made like $250, $300 off of that, it's like, is that truly even worth the risk of it consolidating and just exploding right after? No, it's not, because my displacement isn't there. So like I've been really strict on how I've been executing trades recently. And going into 2026, I would really like to, I think what I need to work on is fear management. Because, even though I've been sharp on my executions and they're not emotional based anymore, they're more logical based and they're more setup based and they're more strategy based, I feel like I still have that little bit of emotional irregulation where, okay, I might exit a trade too soon. Because I did exit this trade a little too soon. And I did have a valid reason to, but I know I could have caught like maybe like a little 200, 300. But at the same time, this should have been a no trade day in the first place. I mean, it's New Year's Eve. This is like super slow volatility. I mean, it was just, if this looks bad to you, I mean, if you take a look at NQ, it's even worse. Like this is bad. Like, what am I looking at here? This is just pure chop, like most of the market. Okay, we're staying below the Asia high, but at the same time, we're just chopping. We're literally just chopping. We're not even sweeping London low until like 11 minutes before the freaking. Nah, EQ was worse before like 5 minutes before the session ended. So it's like we had the manipulation. Where's the distribution? I don't even know. Like I don't even know what the hell this market was. But yeah, that was the market today. And this honestly should have just been a no trade day. I wouldn't have traded this. Maybe if you're trading micros. Actually, no. I lie. That's even worse. Like, why would you trade micros with such a low volatility? You're probably gonna make like, I don't know, $15, $20 with one contract to going from like off of my setup from like right here to down here. That's like on a micro. That's like $20 or something. But so the things that I've learned is, one, managing a trade off of logic and not off of emotion. I think that's the biggest thing here that I've learned in the year 2025. I've learned to be more disciplined, so I don't overtrade anymore. I don't revenge trade. And I probably will only trade about 2-3 times out of the week, 2-3 days out of the week. Because I noticed that if I trade every single day in a week, like I'll make 3K and then I'll lose 2K Thursday and Friday. Like I'll make 3K Monday through Wednesday and I'll lose 2K Thursday, Friday, just because I tried to keep on going. I try to get greedy. But what I truly learned is that the less you trade is actually the more that comes out of it, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is you only want to take high quality setups and good market conditions. So if the market condition is like really, really terrible and you're still trying to force a trade and take like a C minus setup according to your rules, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you risk that money and your earnings from a previous good session on a really terrible session? Like, for example, today, like, I got out of a trade immediately today because, okay, I had my setup, but the displacement wasn't there. The volatility wasn't there. I got out. I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what? This should be like a no trade. And on top of that, what the fuck is the draw on the liquidity here? Like, I know we're bearish and we've been bearish like all week, but there's quite literally like nothing left to sweep. There's no more like, I don't know. There's like, it could have been a continuation setup, but volatility was really shit. So, it's not going to be like, dude, New York PM, 935 down to 890, 947. New York PM and New York AM were like the same thing today, which is actually kind of crazy. Like, what the hell? Like, that should not be happening. But other than that, that's what I mean. Like, you shouldn't force a trade on shit market conditions. Or like, even if you do, and you know that you're right, and you have all your confidences, you have your setup, it's like, I tried to take a trade today, but I knew it wasn't smart to, so I just broke even. Like, all right, yeah, no, fuck it. This might just explode up because of its slow consolidation. This might just be an accumulation before a manipulation move. But yeah, so that was today's trade. And those are the main things that I've learned and will keep in mind moving into 2026. We are going to be primarily focusing on staying disciplined in what sessions we trade. We are going to be staying disciplined in how many trades we take, and if the day is executable with your strategy or with your plan. And if it isn't, then oh well. There's always going to be better market conditions, and you should save it for, the next day. There's always going to be another day to trade. You don't need to force a trade right now. You don't need to be impatient and just try to finish an eval in a week. And I know a lot of people say that, okay, we should be finishing an eval in a week. But I honestly disagree with that, because the faster you try to rush the process, the more likely you are to fail. Less is often more in trading. And that is, I think, the biggest thing that I've learned. The less you risk and the more higher quality setups you take and the better market conditions you're going into. And the main goal is can I make money today? That isn't the main goal. The main goal is, can I execute my plan today? Do I have good market conditions today? Is my plan going to work today, right? It's not about the P&L, okay? That's not what makes people a good trader. It's not about the money you make, because I could full port a CPI account and I could full port CPI on a freaking Alpha Zero account and make, I don't know, like $5,000 and call myself a good trader. I'm not a good trader because of that. That's not what, P&L is not what makes you a good trader. What makes you a good trader is a trader who is consistent, a trader who has a good strategy, a trader that always follows through with their plan and is emotionally intelligent enough to not force a trade or not to revenge trade. Being able to walk away from a losing day, I think, is the biggest thing that has kept my account alive and that has kept me consistent up until this point. And even though I don't have large P&Ls on my consistency, at least my account is still alive. I know people who would just like, okay, I'm $300 in the drawdown. Let's take one more trade on NQ. Okay, the account's blown. Now I have to pay another $90 to reset it. And you know what? Resetting probably was the smarter move for me. Like, I wouldn't be taking so long or just closing my trades a little earlier than I want to, or just, being super like risk management-y right now if I didn't try to keep the account alive. So I've learned a lot by keeping this account alive, and even if I would be a lot further in my progress if I had just reset the account and probably gotten a payout a lot sooner, I'm glad that I learned this lesson in overtrading and revenge trading and the emotionally disciplined part of trading. If you aren't emotionally disciplined, if you aren't someone who can walk away from a loss, if you aren't someone who can just only trade during one session and be smart about the market conditions that you are getting used to and that you are being consistent in, then I don't think you're gonna be profitable because you won't ever be consistent. You won't ever really get a payout. And that's just what I've learned. Unless you're really lucky, I guess. Unless you, I don't know, pass an eval in 2 trades, making 1,500 on both trades, then, But even if if you don't learn that lesson of blowing an account, then you might just blow the funded account anyways. So that is my little talk before 2026 as a reflection of the things that I've learned and everything from managing the actual trade to the discipline of like not trading, if that makes sense. So while I'm in the trade, I'm disciplined enough to know when it goes south, so that way I'm not holding out a trade on hope, but rather market structure. And I'm only trained during New York AM. I'm not trained during London. I'm not trained during Asia when I'm bored. And I'm not blowing money. Less is often more in trading, and patience and actually waiting and for better market conditions will obviously propel you forward rather than if you took 5 trades during a week or traded all 5 days and took 5 trades on Thursday and 1 trade on Monday thinking that you're disciplined. That's not discipline. So that is what we've learned, and going into 2026, I'm hoping to see a payout. And I'm not going to put a time frame on myself because every single time that anybody ever puts a time frame on themselves and they end up rushing themselves, their trades won't be as good and their emotional thinking won't be as good. Their discipline won't be as good because they're going to think, okay, well, I'm overconfident now that I'm winning, now that I have a strategy. Let's take a third trade. Okay, we lost, but I'm confident I can come back into the market and take an A+ setup and just a revenge trade. Hate to break it to you, it probably isn't an A+ setup, and you're probably going to lose more money. I don't even really know who I'm talking to, but this is what I would tell myself going into trading. And the things that I've learned so far, it's not even really the technical analysis that was the hard part to learn. What was the hard part to learn is the discipline of trading, knowing how to regulate the noise of a trade and knowing how to be emotionally content and still during a trade, and knowing when to walk away. I think that's the biggest skill that traders really need to learn, is that you should know when to walk away from a trade. So that is the reflection that I've made for 2025. I'll make another one 2026. But yeah, that is 2025's reflection, and I'll see you guys later.